Hello everybody. In case you cannot tell from the title of this video, I do not read a lot of classics, but there are several classics that have caught my attention over the past years, and there are several that I actually ended up loving. Some that were easy to read, some that were a bit harder but still very good, and some that were just okay. We are going to talk about the ones that were really good, that really caught my attention, that I honestly loved. So let us get into it. The first one is was not written in English, and that is No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. So this is the type of book that you either want to read if you are in a good place or if you need something to make you feel a little less alone. So this basically follows a young man named Yozo, and he has always felt kind of isolated from human beings and from humanity in general. And this just kind of follows his life, if you like those types of stories, which sometimes I do. And it focuses a lot on his mental health. This is semi-autobiographical, which is why a lot of people find this book relatable, including myself. And this talks a lot about suicide and alcoholism. This is one of those books where I would say, please check the trigger warnings, please and thank you. I am going to read the back of the book because I feel like the back always gives a better explanation of what's going on than I could. Portraying himself as a failure, the protagonist of Osamu Dazai's No Longer Human narrates a seemingly normal life even while he feels himself incapable of understanding human beings. Oba Yozo's attempts to reconcile himself to the world around him begin in early childhood, continue throughout high school, where he becomes a clown to mask his alienation, and eventually led to a failed suicide attempt as an adult. Without sentimentality, he records the casual cruelties of life and its fleeting moments of human connection and tenderness. Semi-autobiographical, No Longer Human is the final completed work of one of Japan's most important writers, Osamu Dazai. The novel has come to echo the sentiments of youth and from post-war Japan to the postmodern society of technology. Still one of 10 best-selling books in Japan, No Longer Human is a powerful exploration of individuals' alienation from society. So this is, as mentioned, a really good book, and it was translated in the 1970s, so that makes it easier to read if you are wanting to get into classics. Some quotes that were from the book that I personally loved. There is the opening, "Mine has been a life of much shame. I can't even guess myself what it must be to live the life of a human being." And this was just, that from the jump, it's still extremely relatable. For someone like myself whom the ability to trust others is so cracked and broken that I am wretchedly timid and forever trying to read the expression on people's faces. As long as I can make them laugh, it doesn't matter how, I'll be alright. If I succeed in that, the human beings probably won't mind too much if I remain outside of their lives. The one thing that I must avoid is becoming offensive in their eyes. I shall be nothing, the wind, the sky. That was No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. And then we have another recent read. I actually read these back to back in January, and I still think about these today, to this day. So this is the kind of book where you want to take your time with. The language can be kind of hard to understand, but this did almost drive me to tears. The creature's loneliness, I guess you could say, if you enjoy morally gray people, then you will enjoy this because neither Victor nor the creature is morally in the right, but they're neither completely wrong either. They straddle that line in between two different lines. First, I'm gonna read the back description. Frankenstein is a classic Gothic horror novel which has thrilled and engrossed readers for 2 centuries. Written by Mary Shelley, it is a story which she intended would curdle the blood and quicken the beatings of the heart. I wouldn't say it really does that. The tale is a superb blend of science fiction, mystery, and thriller. Victor Frankenstein, driven by the mad dream of creating his own creature, experiments with alchemy and science to build a monster stitched together from dead remains. Once the creature becomes a living, breathing, articulate entity, it turns on its maker and the novel darkens into tragedy. The reader is very quickly swept along by the force of the elegant prose, the grotesque, surreal imagery, and the multi-layered themes in the novel. Although first published in 1818, Shelley's masterpiece still remains a strong grip on the imagination and has been the inspiration for numerous horror movies, television, and stage adaptations. So quotes from Frankenstein. Life, although it may be an accumulation of anguish, is dear to me, and I will defend it. I do know that for the sympathy of one living being, I would make peace with all. I have love in me like the likes of which you can scarcely imagine, and the rage the likes of which you would not believe. If I cannot satisfy one, I will indulge the other. I could not understand why men who knew all about good and evil could hate and kill each other. And the next book, it's technically a series. I'm sure many people have read it, but it's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. I absolutely love C.S. Lewis. I love his world building, his writing. His writing is very poetic, for lack of a better term, but also easy to imagine and easy to read because it was intended for younger kids. And I grew up with Narnia, and it's just remained so near and dear to my heart. This series, the first book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, we follow 4 siblings, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy, and this is World War II London, and not London, England, and they are from London, but they were sent to the countryside because of the air raids, and in the countryside, in the place that they are staying, Lucy opens the wardrobe, and inside the wardrobe is this amazing, magical land, and that's where the story starts. That is the catalyst, and the back of the book says, Narnia, a land frozen in eternal winter, a country waiting to be set free. 4 adventurers step through a wardrobe door and into the land of Narnia, a land enslaved by the power of the White Witch. When almost all hope is lost, the return of the great lion, Aslan, signals a great change and a great adventure. I just love Narnia so much. Quotes, if you've been up all night and cried till you have no more tears left in you, you will know that there comes in the end a sort of quietness. You feel as if nothing will ever going to happen again. People who have not been in Narnia sometimes think that a thing cannot be good and terrible at the same time, which it can, unfortunately. There are things that have amazing aspects to it, but also terrible. And then we have nothing if not belief. The next book that I want to talk about is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've been trying to do different types of books for different types of people. So if one of these book recommendations is not for you, then maybe one of these other will. So this is what I like to call the OG Enemies to Lovers. We follow Elizabeth Bennet and just trying to navigate society and all of this stuff, and she meets Mr. Darcy and they hate each other, and there's a lot of stuff to go on with that, and Pride and Prejudice is a really good book. Austen's best love tale of love, marriage, and society in a class-conscious Georgian England still delights modern readers today with its comedy and characters. It does have pretty good comedy. I did find myself laughing. And I also annotated this. I annotated this and Frankenstein, and technically no longer human, but this has a lot of annotations, which I love. It follows the feisty, quick-witted Elizabeth Bennet as her parents seek to ensure good marriage for her and her sisters in order to secure their fortune through the irreplaceable characters of Mr. Collins and Mrs. Bennet, and the sensitive nuances of the relationship between Darcy and Elizabeth. Austen's skill and artistry as a writer shines. And I 100% agree. It does. I love this novel so much. I just love Pride and Prejudice and everything about it. It does get a little too dialogue-y at times. Most of the stories too told through dialogue, which I don't love, but it's very reminiscent of the times because this was before they started to incorporate a lot more imagery into writing. I believe yeah, it was around that time, if not before. So some amazing quotes. I declare, after all, there is no enjoyment like reading. How much sooner one tires of anything than a book. When I have a house of my own, I shall be miserable if not an excellent library. There are few people whom I really love, and still fewer of whom I think well. The more I see of the world, the more I am dissatisfied with it, and every day confirms my belief of the inconsistency of all human characters and the little dependence that can be placed on the appearance of merit or sense. I must learn to be content with being happier than I deserve. And of course, we have the amazing, iconic opening quote. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. And now we have the only book that I don't own physically. That is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I actually had to read this for school, and let me tell you, this book did change the way that I think about race and equality. It was just so good, and I also love the narration style. It is told from the perspective of a girl who I believe is about 9 or 10. And this is like 1930s, and so this was when they were still like going outside to play and just running around the neighborhood without adult supervision. It kind of incorporates that vibes with a lot of deeper meaning. And so for some quotes. There is also a 1900s movie that was made from To Kill a Mockingbird, and I suggest after reading the book going to watch that. It was really good. I love the actor who plays Atticus Finch. You never really understand a person until you consider it from his point of view, until you climb inside of his skin and walk around in it. That is so true, honestly. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. A lot of times, what is right does not go along with what is popular. And they do talk about that in the novel, and it's still very much true today. Unfortunately, whatever is popular is not always good, and it's more important to to go along with what your conscience says is true than what everyone else thinks is right. And odds are, they might not even think that it's right. They're just going along with what everybody else is doing, you know? And so, yeah, it's extremely important to listen to your conscience and do what your conscience tells you to do before listening to others and what they think and what the majority of people says to do. And then the final quote that I'm going to end off with you guys is, I think there's just one kind of folks. In those 8 words, that encapsulates so much. And I hope you guys understand like why this is making me feel so emotional, because it's just such an important topic, And while I did know about racism before, and like I believe everyone is equal, and like before reading this book, I did believe that everyone was equal and still is. That just really nailed in the hammer for me, and it's just one of my favorite classics ever. It's just so good. I love the narration, I love the characters, I love everything about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any classic recommendations, or if you've read any of these books, please comment them down below. If you have nothing to comment, then comment a heart emoji, because it's February and we have Pride and Prejudice. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe. And also, I do sprints on YouTube now. I have been doing them for a month or so, and I've been loving it. So please check out my sprints in the playlist. There shouldn't be a playlist, but check out the sprints in my channel down below. And I thank you, and I love you guys so much.